So this is where I'm at now. I finally found all the parts I need. The story behind this is I saw a ad on Craigslist about a guy selling a wrecked G8 with the complete engine and then complete transmission. The only problem was it didn't have fenders, a hood, or a front bumper. It didn't have none of the front components, the little radiator support. The interior wasn't that bad. It had a one rip seat, but the problem was that the this store on that wrecked G8 was smashed in, and then so was the rear one a little bit. So it had cosmetic damage, but everything else was pretty much there. And I saw it originally. He had it for 5,900, and then over the course of like a month, it went down to 4, and then 3, and then 1,500. So I took it upon myself to message him and say, "Hey, I live in Dallas. I'll come and get it. It's a 4-hour drive for me." And I assumed someone was gonna beat me to it, but he told me a lot of people were asking him about it, saying, "Can I come and get it?" I guess I was the one that was like the most serious about it. So I rented a U-Haul, went down there, I got it, paid him 2,700. It came with basically the entire drivetrain of the G8 GT, the transmission, and he also gave me a full DoD delete kit. Lifters, he gave me a camshaft, valve springs. He also just threw in a lot of stuff, head gaskets, basically everything to refresh the engine. This is a valley cover, lifter trays, oil pump, head bolts, stuff like that to refresh the engine. Like all in all, I think that's all worth like between $1,000 to $1,300 worth of parts, on top of like a wrecked G8 and the engine. I'd say that's at least in my eyes, a pretty good deal. So over here, I disassembled the 6.0 block. I have minimal knowledge about engines, but I know that seeing kind of like that cross hatching is good. You want cross hatching. And looking at the bearings, they don't look like they've been spun. All the bearings look pretty well. But if I look at the crank, you can see kind of like lines on them. Kind of like these little streaks. When I touch it, you can't feel it, but you can still see them. I know that if there's deep scoring in it, that's very bad, but there's just kind of like lines. I think possibly debris got caught in it. I'm not sure if seeing those lines is normal. I don't think so, because on this one it's very minimal, and I'd say that one's probably the heaviest. It's kind of like little lines, but it doesn't have any grooves or anything. It's just more so cosmetic. But either way, I'm gonna polish that one up because I'm gonna be reusing that crank. So the idea is to use a stock crank, get Manley rods, Wiseco pistons for the same bore, maybe slightly bigger bore, because the stock one I think is 4. But either way, I'll see at the machine shop and see what they say. New cam bearings, crank bearings. I'm not sure if the Manley rods, when you order them, they come with new rod bearings. But if they don't, I'll new rod bearings too. Just refresh this engine up, and then get some ARP bolts for the cap for the crank, and hopefully assemble the short block, and then take the heads to get ported and polished and just refreshed, and then assemble the long block. But I can't drop it in yet because what I hope is to paint the engine bay. I want to paint the ignition orange because eventually I want to paint the whole car ignition orange, because I prefer that color over the Pacific Slate. Even though the Pacific Slate is beautiful, I just have a preference to the ignition orange. I kind of just want to paint like that fender rail right there, that frame rail, just like the whole inside of it, but that requires disassembling more of it, and I'm kind of running out of places to put all these parts. I also found a well, not a Craigslist ad, but an OfferUp ad for some Cook's headers. They were $350 for both. And this came off of a G8 that had very low miles. I want to say between 10 and 20,000. What happened was that the guy that had it on his G8, he had his car stolen. And the insurance company paid him out, and now he just has some spare G8 parts. He has a complete MagnaFlow exhaust, but I don't need that one. I just needed the headers because I already have the Solar Performance exhaust. So now I'm good on exhaust. The only thing I need right now is probably the transmission. He also has a transmission for sale. His is built up. I think it has upgraded valve body. And those little discs that go in the transmission, I'm not sure what they're called. Friction plates? I need to do more research on how a transmission works, but it's upgraded. Now if it costs too much, I could just send my 6080 to get worked on, or I could work on it myself, but that's probably not going to happen. I could try it though. But there's all the parts. In that box is the stock cam. There's a torque converter right there. Oil pickup, oil pan, and some more miscellaneous parts scattered everywhere. I also got the hood on off the V6 car. I got that on and the bumper as well. But originally I still want to get the Maverick Man carbon fiber one. But for now this will do, since I have it lying around, I might as well use it. But the plan was, when I saw the Houston Craigslist ad, I was going to put the hood and that bumper on the car out here. So this was the GT that I was going to try to fix up. It didn't look too bad, except for that. And I tried hammering it to get it kind of straight, but I kind of just gave up and decided, let's just swap all the parts I need off this one and put it into my project one, and then just part out everything else. As you can see, the doors are gray because the original color of the car was black. Those gray doors are from my original V6, the one that I drove to high school. And then the other doors are over there. I kind of just swapped them so it'd look better. And then there's the trunk. Yeah, this thing is in pretty rough shape. It is a sunroof, but what I noticed is it didn't have a, a fuse box? And the only fuse box I have is off a G8 GT that doesn't have sunroof. So I don't know how I'd wire that. That's why I kind of gave up on it as well. But it didn't have the side curtain, so I put those on off the V6. I might just take them off and part them out, all this stuff. Or I could just sell it all together. It depends. Usually these cars are worth more parted out than sold as a piece. Because someone might need like a little plastic cover and they don't want to buy an entire car just to get it. But the seats, this one's pretty well. The back ones are better, and then the driver one has a tear in the cushion. The steering wheel, yeah, steering wheel is pretty bad. And then there's like this caked on stuff. I don't know what it was. I chipped away at it with a flathead. It's like someone painted it. I can't really tell. Like, I don't know what this is, because if you peel it under it, it's like the same material. It's like they tried to paint it. I don't know why they did that. But instead of trying to fix that one, I decided why not put all the parts that I need into this one and then just sell off that shell and then that other one, just part it out to fund this project. Because I want this one to be, I don't want it to be done quick, but I'd rather see it running in the next 2 years rather than the next 20 years. So for now I have to save up money to buy rods, pistons, and then like the whole cost of a machine shop to clean it up, pour and polish the heads, probably do a hone, stuff like that, polish the journals on the crank, the stock one, balance it. So it's gonna be a bit, but I think shouldn't be too long.